I'm going to show you something on your screen right now, and you have to guess what it is. What this image is, your obvious answer will be this is a robot. My question is, how do you know this is a robot? Obviously, the answer will be, well, I have seen many robots before, like in form of images, in form of dummies. I've seen robot in movies. So I know what is a robot. My mind understands that what is a robot. And when I see this image, it looks something like a robot. That's why I say this is a robot. Well, that's how you are actually guessing what this is. And exactly like that, the AI also predicts. When you ask any questions to AI, the way AI answers your question is exactly like that. We're going to be coming back to this, but before that, my next question is what actually a robot does? Well, many of you will say that the robot can write code, the robot can think, it can be creative, it can write poem for us. Many of you will say the robot also can solve maths. And actually, the robot is something which can actually think. Now, the thing is here, robot being a machine can think. If I'm going to tell you to term this technology, what will be your answer? Well, you should not answer me technologia. Apart from that, what will be the answer? A machine which can think. Well, many of you will say me that this is machine learning because the robot can actually learn by itself. Well, you have seen movies like I Robot by Will Smith or Rajnikant's robot movie in Bollywood, right? So you have seen robot learning by itself. Robot can be very creative. So a machine which can learn, we can just say simply machine learning, right? Or some of you might term this technology as deep learning. You might say that, okay, the robot can be creative and can write poem by its own. The robot can solve my math. So here the technology which are getting used is deep learning. Well, be it machine learning, be it deep learning, we are right now just started learning about something called AI. So we don't know about this thing, but the good thing is all these things, all these buzzwords that you are listening around from your friends, from your colleague, they all comes under something called AI, right? Artificial intelligence. So under the umbrella of AI, you got machine learning, you got deep learning. If you are hearing about something called Gen AI, it comes under it. So right now, this little robot that we have seen before, I'm going to name this as AI. And to be a little more specific, I'm going to say this as a AI model. So this AI model is very powerful. It knows a lot of different things. So as a user, I can ask this AI model any question, something like who won the Cricket World Cup 1983? And this AI model can answers me back that India is actually on the World Cup 1983. The answers will be more like human answers. So when you're going to talk to an AI model and ask some questions to it, the conversation is never going to be feel like you are talking to a machine. Rather, it's going to be more like you are talking to a human, right? But how does this AI model is so powerful? How it knows everything? Well, obviously, it has been trained by some AI engineers or data scientists. This AI model has fed in with lots and lots of data. And this data may be coming from ebooks. This data may be coming from internet, any blog articles, any Wikipedia articles. So using all this trained data, the AI model can predict us the right answer, whatever the questions that we're going to be asking to this AI model. Something like this. So if we're going to see this is your ChatGPT, which is nothing but a AI model. If I'm going to ask the question like who won the 1983 World Cup, it can actually search and can answers us back. Now here I want to be a little deviated from the topic, and I'm going to tell you one thing. The questions that we ask any AI model, something like ChatGPT right over here is what we call prompt. And here is a big word. So whenever you hear prompt in this particular lesson, you basically think this is an input or a question that we ask to an AI model. Well, coming back, here I have a question. Does the AI stores the learned info in the database? The question is, if we're going to ask this question, who won the 1983 World Cup, then the AI need to answer us back. So whatever the news article or ebooks that we have given to this AI, is it going to store in some kind of a database? And the answer is no. The way the AI answers your question is doing something called as prediction. Let's see an example. Well, this is a robot, right? Or you can think this robot is a baby. So if you are the parent of this baby, then how are you going to train this baby that this is a dog or this is a cat or this is an animal? How are you going to make your baby learn about different things? And the answer is pretty straightforward. You're going to make them observe different things, right? For an example, if you're going to teach your baby that this is a cat, you have to show lots and lots of cat to your baby, right? That, hey, this is a cat, hey, this is a cat, hey, that is a cat, right? You have to show different cat to your baby, right? Just like this. If I want to let the AI model know about cat, I'm going to keep showing different images of cat. And the AI model is going to observe this cat, like the way they looks like, how the cat eyes looks like, the shape of the head, the shape of the nose, the shape of the ear, and all that, right? And with all this knowledge, right now, if you as a user gonna show a different cat and gonna ask this AI model that what is this, then the AI model can correctly answer that, hey, this is a cat. The reason why this AI model can answer that this is a cat because it has seen lots and lots of cat before the data that we have given to this AI model during the training time. And by observing all these patterns, whenever you are giving this animal, the AI model can analyze, okay, this is falling into the same pattern of a cat. So I'm going to predict this is a cat. And obviously, this is a cat because the prediction the AI makes right now in 2025 or 2026 is very, very accurate. So the AI model doesn't store examples. It learns the pattern. So whenever you give a new one, it's recognized the new one. And here is another good example. Imagine to this AI model you are teaching how to cook. And you are showing this AI model different recipe. For an example, how to make chicken biryani, how to make mutton biryani, how to make paneer butter masala, and all that. But what about if the user asks something like, hey, I want to make Paneer Biryani. Do you know the recipe for that? Now, this AI model has never been trained on how to make Paneer Biryani, but it knows how to make chicken biryani, how to make mutton biryani. So it can create the new recipe by its own by being creative and gonna give you the result that, hey, this is how you make Paneer Biryani. And this is the recipe for that. So this AI does have their own reasoning skill. They can be creative, they can create new thing out of the training material that they have. So a good AI who is trained on billions and billions of data can actually produce new thing, right? And obviously, if you talk about these days, the ChatGPT and other model that you are seeing, they have been trained with lots and lots of data. And I think in next 2 to 3 years, we'll be run out of data to train the AI models, right? This is how powerful the AI model is going to become. So these AI models are amazing, isn't it? And I'm sure you are also liking them as well. So now let's just talk about a scenario. Imagine one day in your office, your manager came and asked you to do something for him. So you are a Java Spring Boot developer and you are just sitting and working and your manager was like, hey, now we need to build a chatbot application. You will be helping me to build this application. So you as a Java developer is going to do what? Will you think, I'm going to build an AI model from the scratch? Well, you won't be able to do that. I should not say you won't be able to do that. You can, but it's going to be a very, very hectic process. I'm going to tell you why. But before that, let's say you will be building a chatbot application. So, what is going to be your next thought? Your thought will be, well, I know some AI models, right? I've just seen how to use them. So, these AI models are very powerful. And imagine, this AI model is ChatGPT. I know this ChatGPT can answer lots of my question. So if anyone is coming to the application that I'll be building and going to type any questions, if I'm going to route those questions to this AI model, then the ChatGPT can generate the answer and I can show that answer in my application and problem solved. And I don't have to build this AI model from the scratch. And obviously, this is not going to be that easy. Okay. So here comes the Spring AI. The way you're going to be communicating with any AI model like ChatGPT, you know, Spring has a module called Spring AI, which is going to make this conversation part easier. The Spring AI is a module which is going to help you to do the integration with any AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or LLaMA, Llama by Meta. All those models, the AI models which are currently available, we can actually integrate those models with our Spring Boot Java applications. And the Spring AI makes it easier. So Spring AI is something which helps in integrating an AI model to your Java Spring Boot application. And how this Spring AI is going to make the developer's job easier, that's something that we're going to be finding and discovering in this particular video. So that is one thing that you have to remember. The Spring AI helps integrating an AI model into your Spring Boot application. It is not going to help you to create or train an AI model from the scratch. That is something that you cannot do with the Spring AI. Okay. So now we have a simple goal. Our manager has given us a task to build a chatbot application. We will be using this little tiny AI model, which is super powerful, which knows a lot of different things from ChatGPT in our machine right now. Okay, so let's just go ahead and use it. So the first thing is, let's just download this AI model ChatGPT into our local machine so that we can start using it. Because ChatGPT right now, if you want to use ChatGPT, you have to go online and you have to use it, right? But can I download this? And the answer is no. You can't actually download ChatGPT into your local machine. Why? Because, as I said, the ChatGPT has been trained on a huge data. And when you ask a question to ChatGPT, it basically uses all those billions of data that it has trained upon and uses all this neural network or uses all those parameters to give you an answers. Okay. So a lot of things the ChatGPT does behind the scene when you ask a question to ChatGPT. Whenever you ask ChatGPT that, hey, fix the bug in my code or solve this mathematical problem. Okay, the ChatGPT able to do so because there are lots of processing is going behind the scene. And to do those things or to perform those things in your normal laptop, okay, it won't be possible because the laptop that you have mostly, you have around 4 to 16 core. If you're going to a very high-end server machine, you might have 32 cores or 64 cores. The cores are basically heart of your machine or heart of your CPU or the chip that you are using in any machine like this one that I'm using, right? So in your laptop, basically you have CPU. For an example, this is a 4-core CPU. That means we can assign 4 different tasks to this CPU, and at a time, the CPU can perform 4 tasks parallelly. But what about if I have 1,000 tasks or 2,000 tasks? Can this 4-core CPU will be perform all my 10,000 tasks at a time? No. The CPU cores are good for day-to-day work where you want to do things sequentially. Let's say I'm doing one task right now to teach you. Okay. So that's fine with the CPU thing. But what about if I want to dance, I want to teach, I want to play, I want to do 10,000 other things at a time? Can I perform at a time? No. So the CPU are good for single tasks or day-to-day tasks that we are usually performing as a developer. So our laptops are good. But if you want to process or if you want to parallelly do many tasks together, then you have to go for a GPU, right? Something like this. Okay, so the GPU are something what ChatGPT or any AI models are using, okay, on top of very high-end servers or high-end machines. This ChatGPT or any AI models are running, where we are not using CPU, we are using GPU. So the GPU is actually going to have many cores. Let's say in a normal computer, if you have 4 cores, you can think like you might have thousands of smaller cores. So many cores means you'll be able to perform many tasks at a time. So here you will be able to process 4 tasks at a time. Here you might be able to process 10,000 tasks or 20,000 tasks at a time. So whenever an AI model like ChatGPT is running, whenever somebody asks a question, it uses all its billions or millions of parameters that it has to generate the answer. And for that, a lot of things need to be parallelly processed. And for that, this GPU is actually a right option. And you as a programmer or developer may be able to purchase 1 or 2 GPU cores, but not many. For that, you need fundings. Just like OpenAI is a big company right now. They have taken the funding and they have built an infrastructure where they can run a model like ChatGPT. So for smaller startups or smaller individuals, creating a AI model or LLMs. I don't want to go into that term right now. We'll come back to this LLM thing later. But this AI model, if you want to create one from scratch or if you want to train them, you need a heavy infrastructure. And as a developer, we might gonna run out of fund if you're gonna create an infrastructure like that. So downloading ChatGPT is not going to be an option. Well, that doesn't mean that you cannot download any AI model to your laptop. There are small AI model like LLaMA, or there are different AI model we can also download into our laptop and can use them as well. But we're going to come back to that later. But for now, in this video, I want to use ChatGPT. I cannot download ChatGPT, by the way. The OpenAI people who have created the ChatGPT, they have given the API endpoint for us using what we can actually interact with the ChatGPT model, which is hosted in their server. And this is a fake endpoint, by the way. OpenAI/API ask me anything. This is a fake URL, but you have some kind of endpoint like this using what you can communicate with ChatGPT. So let's just go to OpenAI platform. Let's find out the API they are providing so that we can test that out and can integrate the same in our Java Spring Boot application. Hey, my name is Abhilash. You're watching Selenium Express and welcome to the chapter 1 of my Spring AI course.